a carry most likely, so Wraith King always comes to mind. I love playing Wraith King against Bloodseeker because you just don't care if you get ruptured, you turn Blade Mail on, you run around, and then you have Reincarnation, so it doesn't really matter.
And I'd argue against Ursa, it's kind of the same thing, because even though, yes, he can continue attacking, if he uses his ultimate, if he uses Overpower, once you lose your Overpower, if you're not using it, prepping it, that's another 10 seconds until you get a lot of damage out, so like the Wraith King pick. It's
potentially a melee hero against Ursa, but it's not too bad because you have skeletons, and the skeletons, if you stun Ursa and get skeletons on him, he's going to take a lot of damage in the laning stage. He doesn't have good ways of clearing out those skeletons. But OpTic, last pick is going to be the Alchemist. We've seen a few Alchemists here and there, mostly pretty successful. Miracles won a game today with it. Sumail played it yesterday. There's been some other Alchemist picks as well.
On paper, it's a hard carry Wraith King, but we'll see if that ends up transitioning the same with the builds. But definitely seen a lot of like Blink Dagger, Blade Mails into like AC stuff. We've seen a couple Ag Scepters, which has been kind of fun to see. But definitely a good hero for pressuring. And I guess the lane I'm most curious about is, can CCNC do well against the Storm Spirit? I'm not sure how that matchup ends up going typically, but worst case, either hero can just ditch and go jungle. Better for Alchemist usually, but
yep. Interesting drafts coming out, and definitely an important game for both these two teams, both sitting on 50% records. OpTic 3-3, TNC 4-4. A win for either of these two teams in the series will elevate them into top 3 of their group, just like that, because of how competitive and close this Group B currently is.
You know, normally when this best of 2 format doesn't reward like the 2-0 giving you 3 points or whatever, usually those 1-1s don't feel too bad. But right now, as close as TI is, a 2-0 is massive. Yeah. Like absolutely massive. The amount of separation you could get if you can just close out a 2-game series is absolutely tournament affecting.
Probably a lot less stressful to just play once you get like a 2-0 as well. Like, okay, you've got a win, you've got a tiny bit of breathing room between the teams below you, and it just feels like, okay, weight off our shoulders, you know, we're pretty solidly in the top 3, 4. Yeah, we got to keep on getting some wins, but you're just not going to feel like, holy shit, you know, last place is 3 wins. We have 3 wins. What's going on? We're 3-3. How are we tied with last place in terms of wins? Even though last place is 3 wins, 5 losses, it doesn't really feel like there's too much separating these teams.
Yeah, and they'll get into the game though. Curious how the other lanes will go. Probably aiming to match up an Ursa versus a Wraith King if possible. That would give them some lane advantage, and maybe the Bloodseeker would be better able to sustain some of the harass against Mirana. We've seen that lane a couple times actually. The BS versus Mirana. So at least they'll start off on OpTic side, going for a smoke, prepping to cross the map, maybe go for a kill. Armel prepping the tip offensively.
Oh yeah, you always got tip CNC.
It's important to trade hits, guys. Thank you, CC. I'm glad you liked my joke too. I held back from zooming out my camera. It was real hard. I was very close. I was like, you know what? This would be a great time to just slide my finger on the mouse wheel.
So what are we looking at in terms of lanes? Raven is actually going to be pairing up with the Willow. So this is a pretty strong dual lane. And while it is Raven, kind of the carry player on the Wraith King, there's a hero that has been played mostly as a 3. And I feel like even Raven is going to be going a bit more kind of frontline, blink, survivability. I mean, Blade Mail, Radiance could come out, but it's much more about the Storm having a good game this game than the Wraith King himself.
Yeah, especially because OpTic doesn't have that many stuns. I think that would be the easiest way to kind of get out of control. Start picking off Winter Wyverns, picking off some CMs, and maybe even helping to initiate to start some chain stun on Ursa, because that is definitely one of the best things TNC is going for it.
Yep.
So many stuns, and that's usually the solution to Ursa.
Bottom Bounty Rune, bit of a clash coming out. Wyvern's going to get kind of caught. He doesn't actually walk into the Bramble Maze, and he sidesteps that one. Misplayed by Tim's kind of to not just get it popped on top of him.
Gods, why doesn't he just fly over the Bramble Maze? Like, how stupid can you be to just like fly through this like thorny looking thing?
It's one of those, you know, I'd humor you, but there's just so many things you can point on Dota. You're like, this wouldn't work in the real world.
There's a lot of flying heroes actually that are very similar. Yeah. I can hover, but not that high.
They're gonna get some good harass up top on Pycat as he walks by. Annoying stuff. No, okay. Just kidding. Not really that much harass. It looked like it was gonna be worse.
Because he could juke through. I guess he doesn't have a stout shield or a quelling just yet, but he gets through just fine. Same principle. Always the arrow on the range creep as a Mirana.
I mean, range creeps and eyes are a lot of experience taken away from the enemy if you can get them in. We'll see OpTic secure that one, but they can just push out the lane. They're even spamming the wave of Terror, so it seems like they really want to just push the wave and probably go for this side pull on the big camp, which unlike the game we cast before, has not been blocked.
Instant mango usage here for Peter, but he's just trying to lower attack speed and get as many last hits as possible. On the mid lane, Armel pushing up his lane too, 2-2. CCNC at 3-0, but he did get the benefit of the bounty runes, so slightly better than his opponents.
It's crazy how Dota's changed. It used to be don't push the lanes, keep the equilibrium, and now it's like the opposite.
Yeah.
Push lanes, pressure heroes, get these double creep waves under their tower and glyph them and try and dive them for kills. Utilize these side pulls because we push the lane. It's like just so different to even just 9 months ago.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about can you land the deny and the creep, basically. If you do that, then you're in a good spot.
Yep. There's a range creep deny down bottom. That's the good stuff.
Missed it, man.
How dare, that's terrible camera work. We're gonna have to find someone new.
Oh, this courage is dead.
Wow, that's pretty
mistake.
major miss micro.
That was yeah, massive mistake, and that was somebody's items too, but they're gone. For 3 whole minutes. 3-3 could get this kill though. Big slows on Raven. He's got another slow here. Yep. And that's going to be a big one.
Wow. Tim's going to salve up himself with the Shadow Realm, but that's first blood, so they lose the courier, but they get a kill. Somewhat negating the damage that's been done.
So if I'm on OpTic side, I'm actually relatively happy with this because out of all the heroes that I'd want to have a gold advantage, it would definitely be Ursa in the lane versus the melee hero. Because if he gets this movement speed advantage, then this is going to happen every single time that Raven approaches the creep wave.
Yep.
He's just going to get chased down and he's going to take way too much damage as the low armor hero.
And the other hero who's not really being pressured and having a good time is actually Alchemist is farming just fine against Storm. I say that he's about to get bullied a little bit. Armel going for the solo kill. CCNC does not dodge the Remnant. Okay, it was fine up until then. He was even on CS, and then suddenly he loses a whole creep wave.
I mean, as soon as...
Mel? Oh, he's dying to tower. I was like, what are you doing? Wow. He gave the kill.
Well, he did that for the same reason that supports him in doing this earlier. Because if he stays in the lane, instantly Alchemist is full HP. So now players are actually just realizing, if I get the kill, I lose the lane sometimes. We've seen it happen multiple games. So Starfall not going where SamH wanted it, but still grabbing the CM kill. And so if that is only 142 gold spread across the whole enemy team, absolutely worth it for the full HP reset. That's cheaper for him, especially if he buys out, than having to fly out a salve and wait for that.
Okay. No, absolutely agree, and I like it. I mean, it was a little bit worse than what we've seen because the fact CCNC actually had previously done damage, so he still got credited the kill. But
did he? Okay.
Yeah, that's why it felt a little surprising. But maybe he thought CCNC wasn't going to get the kill. Ultimately, though, it is so important. If Alchemist re-TPs back in the lane and Storm has 0 mana and like 2/3 HP, Alk is going to free farm. So he's now able to. He spent all his money, he lost no gold, and he's able to bully the Alchemist the second he comes back. So
I guess what I'm more curious about is, did he get experience from it? If he gets experience, I'd say maybe not worth it, but I'm sure Armel is on top of this here, and he's doing a great job just bullying CC. And this is what he's doing. He's trying to get behind CC. That way he has to walk past these remnants. So he's got to balance, do I get the last hits, or do I just sit back and stay out of experience rage? And it's kind of working, I guess, for Armel's advantage. He's 5.5 right now.
Armel's a very fun mid play to watch. Very aggressive, very mechanically skilled, and I mean, SEA is full of these skilled mechanical mid players, and he's replacing Cuckoo as their former mid player, who was a flashy player in his own right. It's definitely some big shoes to fill, and Armel's done fantastic stuff. But
as I sitting here, kind of wants to affect the lane, but it's really difficult.
That ward was immediately pinged out. They know it's there. And they're still just pinging Zai, but I believe they saw him actually plant it. The Radiant Ward had vision down the entire little
He's already got the
alley.
sentry too.
Yep.
Yeah, he's going to realize now it's going to be a bad time in a second here.
Tim's even buying them for him, so happy times.
Yep, and there comes the D-Ward. Fresh one, instantly killed. I mean, either way, it still does buy CC a couple last hits, so couldn't help a little bit. And here comes the bounty runes, getting back to the bot lane a little bit late.
Got to try deny as many of those from Alchemist as possible, and it looks like he's going to get 0 of them.
Yeah.
One still remains unpicked up, but that's on the TNC side of the river, so nicely done by TNC to secure those.
So that's definitely a great principle of your lane is not going very well somewhere else, and it forces somebody to rotate, and then that means your lane doesn't go as well. Because if Zai doesn't go all the way to mid lane there, he probably sets up for the bounty runes, and then maybe CC gets more
mid lane.
in the end.
Rotation coming in from Tim's. Armel's hit level 6, but there's instantly a rotation from Zai himself, and Armel needs to be careful. He's actually got the Thirst giving vision, and Armel will scurry away from the Winter Wyvern, unable to kill CCNC.
That was kind of helpful for Quinn there that the
top lane, meanwhile,
creeps blocked it.
With the Thirst stacks coming out because of how low Storm got, MyCat suddenly able to go a little bit more aggressive, getting around plus 30-ish damage. A decent bit of movement speed, but just level 2 Thirst.
Radiant's middle tower.
So Zai level 3 kind of performing some roaming stuff, and this is one of the things you can really do if you do have an Ursa that has a lane that goes this well. So I guess that's one of the benefits of what's going on with him. Kind of really trying to hurt him into the silence AoE here, but as soon as the creep wave comes, I'll have a Splinter Blast. So
back at bottom, Ursa was having a good time, but now he's going to find a big rotation coming his way. Again, the Bramble Mace just completely missing. Doesn't catch him at all despite the initial stun setup, but they should still get the kill. Yep, Raven's got a second stun to make sure they get it. Picks up his treads, some of the skeletons and everything.
Well, on the bright side, they did burn some leap charges. It's not all bad for them, but Cuckoo super wrapping around here trying to get CC.
Yeah, it doesn't have ultimate. He used it previously. Amel thought about bowling in, but once the TP was spotted, he decided better of it. If he gets frostbitten under a tower or something there, it could have gone very poorly for him.
Yeah, that one was a little hard. His mana wasn't that high. CC still had a stick as well, so I'm not sure he would have gotten picked off there. But he's doing a good job, at least. Every single time the creep wave comes forward, he drops the acid spray, kills the enemy creeps as fast as possible. That's going to make it so it's harder to go for those dives.
Back at bottom, there was a Shadow Realm TP out from Ursa. Okay. One thing OpTic particularly have done well is deny these runes from Storm. Storm went for a bottle, and the last 2 runes have not been picked up by him. Like going to die up top, but the 6 and 4 minute rune were both picked up by other heroes. One by TNC, but it's because OpTic's pressuring these 2 minute runes that Storm has been unable to get these high impact plays going here in the early game.
Yeah, that's true. If you compare Sumail's Storm, for example, he got some really impactful runes. Maybe some luck there, but also that he lane controlled enough to grab the runes and then made good plays with them. So absolutely helps. I'm sure they wish they had bounties, though.
That's true.
Propel them a little bit faster. And if we look at net worth, he's still pretty separated, actually. He's got a good net worth lead on the Storm here. So I don't think he's too upset with how things are going.
Oh, yeah. Oh, top of net worth chart where you like to be. He's able to fall back to the jungle, treads, Aquila. That's kind of all you need. He gets the double stack going now as well. Very good, consistent farm coming out his way. He is farming underneath the ward, which is where he will perhaps have to be careful later on once TNC get a bit more aggressive rotating around the map.
Oh, this is a good one. He got Elf Wolves and he got a Mud Golem stack, so that was a lot of gold
falling
into his lap. And either way, I feel like Quinn's got to feel at home when he plays Alchemist, because it's kind of similar to a hero like TA that he usually plays a lot. It's like go into the jungle and be efficient there. And if he's used to doing that, it might be easier to hit in these patterns and just pick up items really quick.
Now smoking up, looking to rotate in on him. This is 2 supports, both level 4 though. CCNC's got 900 health. I don't know if they got the damage to kill him. Maybe with the Storm Throw, he balls in from afar. The root stops him getting from the shrine to the shrine as well. And that may tip off the fact there's a ward somewhere in the neighborhood, but not necessarily.
They also placed in sentries to block camps, which is a really good move to do. They did that in the other
bottom. Popsy and Rage, so he doesn't get stunned by the Cursed Crown, but there's a secondary stun from Cuckoo to follow it up. Raven's also got another Wraith Fire Blast as well. They bring down Ursa, so 33 after his strong start. His first blood has died a couple times now in the last few minutes.
Oh, gets the root off though, unfortunately. If its Rupture is going to be late. This is going to be a lot harder to snag as a kill.
Sam Angel take the Thirst. He's still scouted out here, and the Splinter Blast is going to land, but doesn't look like it's going to kill him immediately. Sam H Starstorming and knows he's kind of dead here. Tried to leap forward, but didn't really get away from the Bloodseeker in time.
That was actually pretty cool. Zai's Arctic burn damage pulled the creep to the right, otherwise they wouldn't even gotten that second Splinter Blast off. I don't know if he did that one on purpose, but just a feature of the damage over time aggroing the creep, so that's pretty cool. Alex still in the jungle though, pretty standard for him. And at least his team is keeping the enemies busy. That and his tier 1 tower that no longer is alive.
Yep.
But ultimately he's on a safe part of the map, it'll be alright. Here's Storm though, not looking great for Zai. PPD also a little out of position perhaps, but they're fighting for bounty runes and they do get a silence on Storm. They'll grab the other one across the river, and is that going to be it? Just a single bounty? And a Crystal Maiden. Okay. So still really good move
kill
from TNC though.
Yeah, once it seems, you know, they're really keeping tabs of these bounty runes with the Alchemist in the playing field. Problem is, you know, they're grouping up, they're contesting these bounty runes, but they're also not going and contesting the Alch's farm. They did gank him once, but it's like, oh, we gank him once, and then the second he respawns, he's back to farming. They're not controlling the map. Against Alch, I always feel like a 1 or 2 ganks doesn't stop a hero from farming. It's the constant pressure and like aggressive vision that's going to do a whole lot more.
I was sure Cuckoo was going to TP there. He's going to 100% die.
Yeah.
Bit of a mistake.
Blocks another camp with a sentry, but that's going to get dewarded.
Okay, so it was only a sentry that went down.
Yeah,
at least,
so this is the game plan. Block his jungle. They've blocked camps on the right side, camps back over near the shrine on the north side.
The hard part, though, is like, yes, pulling like a large camp into a medium camp is great and all, but it feels like the medium camps are a bit better. I guess outside of like Troll Warlords, because the medium camps, you get so many little small dudes to kill.
Yep.
Maybe I'm overselling this a little bit, but it's not like he kills stuff that fast. He's going to spend more time walking, I guess. It's definitely a benefit. But I just feel like it maybe is better to kill him, but that's maybe not possible.
Top tower is under
Yep,
attack.
another D-ward coming.
No, PPD, that's an observer as well, so golden experience for him. And
it's-
immediately sentry. Cuckoo's just like, whatever, don't care. We're dealing with that. We're taking this alchemist problem, tackling it head on.
They're rotating some heroes. Oops, I'm zoomed out. My bad, guys. Sometimes it just happens. Old habits. Oh, the root from the neutral. This could be his death. He's being attacked, but he doesn't take damage from the neutrals. They are on a different team, and he's going to get out. That was pretty sick, though.
What team's that?
The neutral team.
Well, there's
The
Radiant, there's Dire. Do the neutrals not get their own team name?
They are a third team.
Okay.
Team. I hate everybody or something, except for each other.
You know, that's bias against neutrals. We need equality here in Dota.
That's true. And now with that tier 1 tower top, it seems like TNC just has massive control of the map. And if anything, I look at the OG wards and I'd say they're maybe a bit misplaced. They're all very aggressive. It just makes me think back to the EG game and how much they defensively warded to get control of their map. And they're defensively de-warding, but it feels like you maybe need both.
Yeah, they are still looking pretty good in terms of the Alchemist farm, so it's going to come down to what can TNC do now, because this is kind of go time for them in a lot of ways. Armel's got his Kaya. He's also got a regen rune, so he's going to be hunting for kills. Finds PPD, but CCNC is right next to him, so it doesn't look like he wants to go fully commit in that middle lane. Meanwhile, the rest of TNC with Storm showing mid, they're actually up top, so seeing what they can find.
3-3 trying to push out the bot lane, but it kind of feels like to me that Alchemist would rather be down far. They've got observer wards in position as well, so at least they can feel able to grab creeps there. But Sam H is going to stop the split push and still sitting around CC's about 800 away.
TNC are going to farm this ancient stack. Interesting way to use a regen rune just to constantly heal yourself up. He's tanked like 2,000-ish damage here from this ancient camp, but because of the regen rune, he's maintained his full health.
Even still, it's not like Alk is going to be able to kill that anytime soon.
That's very true. Oh, Winter's Curse into a Blood Right. This is one way to control a Storm, and it's going to get the silence off, and they're going to bring him down. The Terrorize comes a little bit too late. Bramble off the Terrorize. That catches 3 of them, but not going to see a follow-up there. Nice little bit of play, recognizing that Storm was completely alone and out of position if they could get that Blood Right off.
Another great D-ward here for Peter, and there's lots of sentries still in the jungle, and some of them are blocking camps, but not nearly as much ward vision as they had before. And this means that it's going to be very, very short until the Alk Radiance comes up. A minute till next bounties. Maybe they can succeed at getting more than one this time.
Yep. We're looking elsewhere. Raven going for a fast Blink Dagger on Wraith King. Has a Blade Mail queued up next.
Yeah, he's quite farmed. And Storm as well, actually.
Yeah, Storm's in a fine place. Even Moran is out farming the other 2 cores, the Bloodseeker, the Ursa of OpTic Gaming.
Did they see this? I don't think they did.
There's
they
a sentry in mid,
but that's why they're pinging. They're scanning. They spot CC. So
yeah, will they actually get him here? They're invis up with a Moonlight Shadow. Raven already kills PPD on the Crystal Maiden, and CCNC gets bursted down, taken out by a Raven crit. Very nicely played.
That was a huge death. Kind of interesting that they're spread out enough to initiate on the 2 heroes at the same time. I thought it was just going to be PPD on this Crystal Maiden going down there, but the fact that they caught both heroes was absolutely worth it for them.
Yep.
And a rare moment where OpTic felt like they had a little bit of map control, but again, it kind of plunged into another death for Alchemist.
It was a pretty heads-up play from Cuckoo, because he's the one that just ran past and kind of ignored the fact there was a Crystal Maiden and found the Alchemist. And it's like, hey, guys, forget the Crystal Maiden. Let's do this. Bounty runes are going to go 3-1 split again, it looks like.
Yeah.
See, getting majority of them. Tim's just going to run to some heroes. Winter's Curse and the Blood Right at top bounty rune once again. Stopping him using Shadow Realm. He may still get it off when this Blood Right wears off, but no TP. So, will be his death. Eventually, I feel.
Yeah.
Unless they want to let him live, because they are afraid.
They can't do anything.
They could have killed him, but...
no, they were actually feared, though.
I mean, after the fear.
Oh, okay. I mean,
they don't know what we know, which is that Tim's was actually completely alone.
Yeah,
so
he was very separated at that point too. They would have had to run like a blink dagger's distance to initiate.
Yeah. The rest of the TNC team was on the bottom side of the map, which we know, but OpTic Gaming themselves didn't entirely have full info of.
And I'm sure there's been a couple games where they're like, oh yeah, I can absolutely get this kill, and then they end up feeding because they stayed just a little too long.
It's a level 7 Dark Willow. It's not going to net you that much gold or even create that much space for you at that point. Storm, oh, he knows they're in these trees. Pycat in a lot of trouble here. Has 1900 gold. We'll see if he wants to spend any before he dies. Looks like he will. Yeah, buys a couple pieces, and Zai himself will just TP on back home. TNC starting to string together quite a few kills here, and significant damage to the Alchemist's economy with his deaths, as well as all of the sentries and invasion in general of OpTic's jungle. It's kind of limited CCNC just to farming these 3 camps over by the Dire Triangle.
And even those have been blocked a lot of the time.
Yeah. And just Ancients themselves are just not really value farm for an Alchemist. You're always hoping to farm the smaller, medium camps. Even a large camp, things that are just a lot easier and more efficient to kill.
So as we saw in the last little storm dive, that Bloodseeker can't really do that much to protect himself, and if Winter Wyvern is also on cooldown, that's also difficult to snag. The Observer did spot them going for a smoke here, so we'll see if Tim's tries to interrupt it or somebody else on TNC maybe. He's got Terrorize again, so if things get messy, he's got a way out, but they also have an Observer and they see him moving back and forth, so they're trying to find a way to get high ground here and initiate on him, but not get caught.
Yeah, it's like if Ursa blinks in, he can just insta-Shadow Realm react. The lack of stun and initiation on OpTic's side makes it very hard for them to make some space for CCNC now. He has finished his Radiance kind of on the bottom side of the map.
Raven blinking forward, really bad for him actually.
Oh, he does have the Blade Mail, so he returns some damage. Is going to reincarnate, but he may just die a second time here. He's right by the tower. He's gone on by the unstable concoction of the Alchemist, and well played by OpTic to punish his over-aggression.
And if anything, it was just a misread on where they were on the map. I mean, they knew there was a smoke, but Raven blinked forward to hit creeps, probably expecting a smoke somewhere else. And as soon as you see an aggressive blink like that, it's just straightforward. You know that if you kill him right away, he's not going to have a blink afterwards. And they throw everything on him under the tower. They've got detection, they've got everything they need. So that was a great pickup. They do still have to worry about Storm, but on the bright side for them, Armel is rushing a Bloodstone this game, which... Do you think this is the right choice? Because I kind of feel like if he has Orchid, he's just going to start solo killing any hero he wants. But now because he's going Bloodstone, I guess he's got mana, but he can't easily defend himself from getting stunned.
I think against, I guess what, Bloodseeker is Blade Mail, so he's not like the easiest of kills, and Alchemist is going to have Manta Style by the time you finish Orchid, so...
I'm not... I mean, yes.
Or roughly around a similar time. Maybe he's just thinking there's not easy kills for him.
Just like he would have Orchid right now. His Perseverance is like, what, 1600, and then there's another 2.5. So he's very close. I feel like he could have it like right now, and Alchemist participating in that kill maybe, and therefore is now finally very close to Manta. I feel like he could have exploited a little timing maybe, but perhaps you're right. Maybe it would only been like a 4-minute window or something.
And I think a big part of the reasoning is they are looking at this game like, okay, Alchemist, you know, we've shut him down pretty well, but he's still also quite farmed. This is kind of going for that late game direction, and the Bloodstone is more the farming late game build compared to the Orchid, which is the let's fight and dominate now.
Absolutely.
So gearing up a bit more for the late game, particularly when you've got a Wraith King. Raven is just not going to scale that well on this hero compared to the majority of the carries he plays.
Man, OpTic has very, very little vision here. They have no idea about Roche being taken.
They could contest this with Reincarnation down, I feel, if they knew about it. But they're just going to be here a little bit too late. They're gathering up for perhaps a smoke, but this is going to be too little too late.
It will definitely be an Aegis on Storm Spirit, which is a little scary, and especially because their ways to kill Storm are a bit limited. If they have to burn a Winter's Curse and do a Silence just to get a kill on that guy, then it'll be even harder to kill him the second time. But Manta's up on Alchemist, at least he's queuing up a Blink Dagger now, so they will have many stuns to follow.
Yep. Nice little pickup for him. As we'll see Storm's Bloodstone also completed, so the Aegis, he can really just go... Without the Orchid, it makes these kills harder to get, but if he finds like a CM or Wyvern type hero, he probably feels pretty confident he can kill them.
Is this a double bounty rune for OpTic Gaming? Incredible.
It's game-changing.
It's getting 280 per bounty there, so 600 gold swing there for him, and now the game's pretty even gold overall, but it's very heavily on the Alchemist here, net worth-wise. It's like what? It's like a third of their team's gold. That's actually half. He has half of their team's gold right now. That doesn't really feel good until he has like an Octarine to me. Like a Manta Radiance just feels so vulnerable if they catch you at the right time with your ulti down, for example. But if as long as he doesn't get caught out of position, keeps farming up, finishes his Octarine, he's definitely going to farm fast and push lanes and team fight.
TNC have actually smoked up from top and seem to be moving once again. This bottom side of the map where Radiant often, take over that top part. So this could catch some of these heroes by surprise, particularly CCNC.
Yeah.
Is he going to TP out? He's turned his Radiance off, not to maybe give away his position. Turns it back on, though, so maybe he's not quite sure what's going on. And the second Storm shows bottom, he's TPing out.
Yeah, this both teams kind of play. Basically two places that their opponents could go. They're either going to dive the tier 2 top or look for Alk. So Alk read that correctly and ended up avoiding the problem. He actually doesn't use his Manta here, but maybe okay because this whole team is in the area.
He's not afraid in any way. You see CCNC is going to take the Observer Ward, get the bonus. 28 gold for the Observer Ward even.
Watch out. I think at this point, OpTic's got to feel good, right? They've got the lanes decently pushed out. They still have all the tier 2 towers. They've got really good ward control in the areas between their towers, which means that it's going to be harder for their opponents to find their guys solo, at least.
I think they feel good, but like they can't play too aggressively because of the fact that Ursa and Bloodseeker are both having a rough game. I'm sure Pycat and 33 are like, yeah, I'm kind of under farm, guys. Do I need to go farm, or like, what's the plan? Like,
yeah, I suppose
this is the Alchemist effect, kind of. Cuckoo at mid, gone on and rooted up. Will be brought down. Just a quick bench pick. Alk will end up stunning himself.
And basically, they just can't take this fight because they're all spread out. Armel is going to cut the creep wave mid, which is actually a great move here. Can't stop backdoor protection or create backdoor protection on a tier 1, but
they're coming to defend. Raven CP's in with the stun to start things off. One CCNC. He's got the Chemical Rage up still. The Terrorize falls up, catches out Ursa. The Wraith King Reincarnation's going to slow him all down. Ball in from Storm, catches the Wyvern. No curse immediately, at least. Armel, he gets cursed up finally. That could save Zai's life. He looks for the TP out. Ursa see him already dead. And the fight not over as the Bloodseeker does help finish off Cuckoo, but he now needs to find a way out of this one. Storm gets stunned up trying to pursue Pycat, who gets stunned by the Cursed Crown. That's a third casualty on the OpTic side, who have only managed to kill the Venge.
Twice.
That's true. That's twice.
Super bad fight for them. Well, not super bad. Bad fight for them,
it's
but yeah,
pretty bad.
Two massive Venge kills.
Yep. And they lost the tier 2 bottom. Wraith King summoned Skeletons bottom to push and take the tower, and then TP'd mid to defend.
I mean, the start of the fight was pretty good with the Venge kill, but then it followed up with... it was just like they went on the Wraith King, they killed him pretty fast, his ulti goes off, and then it's just Storm can kind of do whatever he wants.
That's like the way... That's how a Wraith King fight wants to go. The team with Wraith King is hoping that he initiates in with a Blink Stun and dies right away. That's actually kind of a best case scenario, assuming you're still in good fighting shape and just aren't going to lose the fight right away.
Either way, not losing Alchemist was decent. It's a gold loss, but that's the guy that's going to pump a lot of gold towards the enemy team if he goes down. And
to me, it's still this big question mark. Again, Ursa, Bloodseeker, still underfarmed, and they both died that fight. They didn't really get... They got one kill on Bloodseeker, I guess, but...
Yeah.
These heroes continue to suffer. Alchemist, I don't think he can outcarry 3 heroes by himself. He's going to need some help at some point in this game.
Especially against this many stuns. If you ever get caught, it's going to be chain stun. Very likely that you don't survive through that. So Skeletons, again, doing their jobs.
Taking another tower. That's one of these out towers being removed. CCNC has channeled up a stun down bottom. Wants Cuckoo, but doesn't look like he's going to be able to get him with the Bramble being deployed.
It's the one guy they know they can kill. That's why it's going hard for that one. Must be hard actually playing with an Alk like this because you know that he needs to get farms so that he can get his items. But in the same vein, then it's going to create lack of farm for you as well as a hero. So, but in the same vein, Pycat needs to have BKB so that he doesn't have to deal with all these stuns that are being thrown at him. Doesn't have to worry about arrows. Can actually run in and worry about right-clicking as much as possible. But most of the farm has to go to the Alk. And now that they've stabilized, I mean, they're still even on gold more or less. But it definitely feels like a much better position for TNC.
I agree. When it's this Alk versus the world, it doesn't feel great when like 2nd, 3rd, 4th are all on TNC's side and not just like slightly ahead. They're well ahead of Ursa Bloodseeker. It can be redistributed with the Ags pulling later, but yeah, OpTic were coming down there, and if they'd actually just stayed invis and left the bounty rune there, they may have actually baited at least one hero in, maybe multiple, but they weren't really to know that OpTic were as close as they were. But yeah, we'll see if those Ag Scepters start getting pulled. I think Ursa's is a particularly strong one. If he gets Blink stunned, he can just enrage immediately. Doesn't matter. Make sure he gets his BKB up. Bloodseekers is pretty good as well.
Yeah, I would say Bloodseekers is quite good. Drop one on the Mirana, maybe put another one on I don't know, a support or something. You don't really want to do it on Wraith King unless you kill Wraith King once, then put a second time. But even Wraith King's got a pumping out an armor, or Radiance, sorry.
Yep.
Lots of damage being dealt from him. So
there's that's the great thing about Wraith King and Storm this game is that they're actually heroes that just don't care about the Rupture that much. So it does make life a little bit difficult as far as finding targets other than Mirana.
What if you just get the CM bags? That way you can actually disable a Storm Spirit in an appropriate amount. It's not worth it, but
it's not worth it. But it is an option for an extra disable. It would require Storm to be standing still in freezing field, which I think he's got this spell that allows him to move out of the freezing field. Correct?
But it's a big AOE.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna spend some time there. It's probably like Medusa ulti, where like when it procs, you're like, really? I didn't actually think that I was looking at her. Thought it was the corner of my eye thing, but no, really. Then you just get turned into stone and the fight goes bad, kind of a thing.
It's a pretty cool axe. I definitely like it, and don't think it's like bad by any means.
But we're not going to be there for a long time, because by the time Alk starts pooling these ags, he's going to have a full 6 slot almost for sure, because none of those ags are particularly incredible. And TNC is going to try to push this advantage with a fight. CC blinks forward. Actually, he's got ulti at least, but walks right into a lot of heroes.
First stun comes out. The Wraith King falls up with the Blade Mail. The Ursa trying to save the day here, but that's not going to be too much as the backlines also get jumps. The Storm ignoring the Alchemist, going for the supports, takes out Zai first. PPD, you are next, my friend. That's 3 dead currently. It's now 4 with a full team wipe as Wyvern even bought back for that fight. Didn't have a TP. They're going to give CCNC a tip just to rub it in.
Yeah,
what a good fight.
Worst case scenario for OpTic Gaming there, in that they didn't anticipate the enemies being there. He blinked aggressively in the first place. He must have had his camera looking somewhere else too, because he did have vision on them close by. Didn't put get his Manta off necessarily. Didn't get his ulti off right away, I don't think. Worst case fight for him, and great initiation for TNC.
Yep. That was Armo getting Bloodstone charges as well. He's up to 22. Definitely a good way to make sure Storm keeps up and scales even better than he normally would with just items, is getting these Bloodstone charges.
Prepping for Maelstrom on Wraith King, actually.
Okay.
I'm guessing to be one of those like solutions against Cold Embrace, I suppose. That he just wants a little bit of magic damage away.
Such a small amount. I don't know about the. It's okay, I guess.
Okay.
I don't think you're getting it just for Cold Embrace.
Yeah, because he's already got Radiance. It's not like he needs wave push in any kind. So
yeah, you have enough lane push with Radiance and Skeletons. You don't really need it. There's no illusion heroes on the enemy team. Particularly Manta style doesn't really count.
Yeah, he's more than fine with what he's got. He's better off buying tankiness or actually damage.
I like the AC pickup a lot better. We'll see if he gets it. I think other items like Halberd aren't bad. The disarm can be very effective on Wraith King.
That's true, especially against Ursa.
Yep, against Ursa, you're not required to be the main damage dealer necessarily when you've got Storm and Mirana, who are both pretty well farmed.
They are really close to Radiance on Bloodseeker, though, and obviously that last fight went bad for OpTic.
You mean Radiance? He's going BKB.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Keep saying it wrong.
Oh, okay. Yes.
So even though that fight went really bad, at least if they can initiate, things could certainly turn around in their favor. So just need to outmaneuver their opponents.
It's crazy because, it feels like in some ways Ursa and Bloodseeker have not had an item since their first item they got at 15 minutes. But finally these BKBs are coming out. 29 minutes. You would have hoped to have seen these a good 5-6 minutes ago, but such is the nature of these greedy Alk drafts sometimes.
Yep. But once Alk finishes his ags, then things are certainly going to be solid, I think, for OpTic Gaming here. He does still have to worry a little bit about being chain stunned, I guess. And there is also things like Wave of Terror, decent right-click damage, but it's a lot of magic, things like Radiance. So I think he should be survivable enough when he pops BKB that they can actually take a really good fight, especially if he initiates too.
Looks like TNC are just thinking about next Roshan, and they know they're in much better fighting shape and can just kind of keep playing around this pit. They've got pretty good vision right now. Definitely strong map control with both top and mid always pushed out to the tier 3s. It feels like they do have some slight bottom lane issues that sometimes have to be addressed, but all in all, mid and top lane are the important lanes because they're the ones that play around Roche.
I mean, it's definitely one of those nice things to have, is just knowing that all your cores are just overwhelmingly strong, so you can just feel more comfortable even if your vision isn't the best. OpTic getting their first double bounty in quite a while, so getting some gold advantage there, but now they're at a deficit of 5,000.
Yep. Dire Scan did clip a hero at Roshan. We'll see if that may suggest to OpTic that they're in the pit, and with these BKBs freshly picked up, do they consider fighting it? Do you think they have the ways to win a fight at Roshan with BKBs.
I think they're too worried not having BKB on Alk, but they do have to go for the fight because if an Aegis is on Storm, that is such a big threat. Radiance is up on Alk. We'll see if he notices or not, but Roche at about half HP. They're actually looking like they're going to jump on Tims in the mid lane. He's going for the blink stun, but he can't quite see him, so he doesn't know.
That's what Tims is there for, so that they don't actually contest Roshan, and perhaps he was strong enough bait that he pulled them away. Alk still wants to fight this one. He's channeling stun. I don't know about this one. He's going to stun himself. He didn't have his blink dagger up. TNC in all sorts of trouble. The Terrorize is going to catch him as well. Oh, Raven happy to go blinking in. Storm going for the backlines, finds the Winter Wyvern. He's very low. He's going to immediately lose his Aegis, though. That's maybe not the best thing for the Storm Spirit, who will be coming back to life in just a second. The Mirana BKB got caught by the Winter's Curse. They are going to still chase down CCNC, bring him down the swap. It's going to help save them. Oh, save the Mirana. No, it does not do that. Mirana goes down, Venge hits the deck as well, post-swap. It's going to be Wraith King trying to chase down the Crystal Maiden, succeeds in doing so. And Armel on his second life, cleaning up, gets himself a double kill. Only Bloodseeker survives. The BKB is being helpful, but not game-changing.
Yeah. I mean, considering they had Aegis and Cheese, that wasn't bad for OpTic Gaming, but getting in there late, CCNC stunning himself, just catastrophic fight for OpTic Gaming. They had to spend things like Cold Embrace just to buy him some time while he was stunned. I'm sure he was trying to go for the Manta dodge, but it's difficult to time. CC was not able to get out of that there.
Tims, Pycat, bit of a jewel going out. He's just dying to the Blade Mail. It's a Blade Mail kill. Okay.
Why is there so much gold?
He was full health.
600 for the Dark Willow, and then back on the other side, 500 for Pycat. That's the biggest chunk of gold Pycat's gotten all game.
Yeah, these solo kills, and I mean, for Pycat, it's because it's, you know, his team's kind of behind, and for Armel, it's you're killing Core Hero by yourself. That'll get you something.
The delayed Lincolns here are going to be really useful. They actually killed Storm pretty easily in that last fight. It was like one Frostbite, and that was it. Storm was dead.
So there's really two lockdowns to worry about. The Frostbite and then the Winter's Curse into Bloodright. So Lincolns will block both those initiations, Winter's Curse and Frostbite.
Yep. And Alk obviously still does have a blink stun, but I mean, the issue in the last fight was they got so late to the Roche pit, they didn't have sentries set up really, at least in the actual Roche area, so when CC came forward, there was just nobody go for it, and it wouldn't have been worth it for him to blink any more aggressively, so just difficult. It was kind of one of those moments where they're like, we know we should Roche. They just got there a little bit late. They got distracted going for the Willow. If they would have just charged the Roche pit, maybe that fight goes okay, but still so hard when they haven't as much map control game for them to show up late and try to take a good fight there.
Storm getting very out of control at this point. Level 23, about to hit 24, 26 Bloodstone charges. Carrying around this gem to get this full-on map control vision. Something you've been talking about, making it much more difficult for OpTic to play their game.
If you look at their vision, it's basically just creep waves, pretty much, Manta illusions, stuff like that. So going to be less gold output for them as a whole.
Bit of a push going down bottom, but this has constantly been an area of the map that TNC have just full and ignored. They do not care about this bottom side whatsoever. Doesn't mean much as they hope to find pickoffs back up top.
And there's still going to be creeps high ground, which is slightly helpful, but you're totally right. Like, they're not going to stick anyone down here that's going to be able to threaten a tower. They don't have somebody like a TA or a Nature's Prophet or a Luna or something that could potentially threaten Rax. They just don't have anybody that does that. It's basically just Alchemist. He doesn't have BOTs yet either, so just no big threats.
Back at top. They know Willow TP bottom to defend, so they're going to try and initiate on OpTic's side, but once again, CCNC unable to find a target to drop his stun on.
I don't blame him for not manting in some situations like this, just because if you burn the Manta, then that's an Orchid is going to counter you later, then you'd have to force a BKB. So in the right situations, I think it's fine for him not to Manta on those. But they finally leave their base a little bit, don't find a grab, and now they may be able to abate him a bit here. And here it comes. Yep.
CCNC, BKB dodges the stun. Nice start for him, but the Chemical Rage still important. They're going to try focus on Raven first. He's got a cheese as well as Reincarnation. Yule Scepter going to delay his death even further as 33 is just getting kited around. Finally pops the BKB. Crystal Maiden's ultimate being thrown, but no one really standing inside it. Raven, he's the one low and gonna just throw away his life because of the Reincarnation. Still has cheese on his respawn. Winter's Curse nicely placed on the Venge. Gonna need some firepower coming out from the cores here. Sandmage just BKBs leaps away from the Ursa to get himself back to safety. Armel back up north. He's got 1 life just to play around with. That's all he needs. It's gonna be the Ursa first as well as the Wyvern already brought down. Cuckoo getting fairly low here. The Alp just trying to bring him down. Will succeed in doing so. Still doesn't have Chemical Rage and is kind of on his own here as Raven is fighting, bringing down PyCat with the help of the Mirana. They're gonna team wipe OpTic Gaming, turn it into an Armel triple kill, and put themselves in a fantastic place to take their first lane of racks.
That was a bit of a crazy dance in that engagement. So many people have like 2 lives and all this survivability, but the fight was going all over the place. I mean, Storm jumped instantly, trying to take out the Winter Wyvern, but Aeon Disc buying him some time, and CCC running around trying to score kills, but he's able to stay alive, but he's not doing that much damage just yet. Just now picking up his level 20. If he has that at the start of that fight, I feel like they might have been able to do a lot more.
Yeah. And Raven, like that's 2 big team fights in a row where he's actually the one who does the most hero damage between the Radiance and the Blade Mail. He just stands in the front line, pops his Blade Mail and says, hit me, Ursa. I don't mind. You kill me once, you have to commit either Enrage or BKB, and then in my second life, you lack that defensive tool of we can deal with you.
And even Bloodseeker doesn't feel like he can accomplish that much. Blood Rights gets a good rupture, but he basically traded his BKB and for the first Wraith King kill. And even that doesn't feel that great.
TNC happy to take not just 1, but a second somewhat lane of racks as they get the melee racks in mid and the full set up top. Puts him in a great place here to perhaps even just wait for the next Roshan if they really want to. They're going to have such good map control, all these lanes pushing out. They've de-warded the majority of OpTic's vision, apart from a single Observer ward, which may even get found fairly soon. And OpTic are just so limited in what they can do at this stage of the game.
Well, they can always hope for the next Ags pickups. I guess he's queuing up a Shivas here.
Yeah, he's not even thinking about sharing yet.
Yeah, I don't know if that one's going to matter. Oh, you can still do that. Okay, cool.
And dodges the stun. Raven, once again being focused first, but he doesn't care really that much. Unless he gets brought down a second time, which is unlikely. Storm just balling in forward, takes down the CM. Next is the Wyvern, doesn't have the Aeon Disc back up and dies immediately, forced to buy back. Armel has been ruptured, but he can just ball lightning away without taking any damage here. He's going to fall on back, chase down and bring down the Ursa. Helped out by Raven, and it's Venge in the front lines, who's getting fairly low, but doesn't really feel too afraid. Alk has to wait for at least the Chemical Rage to come back up, but even then, I don't know if he can fight this one 3v5. He's going to make a go of it. 2 seconds till Rage. Okay, blinks forward.
Scary Ball Lightning comes in, though, looking to pick off the Winter Wyvern. He does still have the Aeon Disc, but yeah, easy pick off there and a swap back. CCC gonna be focused as well, and that should be the end of the game.
It is. Armel just going off here. 16, 2, and 7. Fantastic showing from him. Even Raven making Wraith King look a bit more like a carry than most of the Wraith Kings we've been seeing. His frontline impact was very formidable.
And his laning stage was rough too. I mean, I didn't catch him that much on the screen, but it felt like him and the